Hey, what's up YouTube? Welcome back to my channel. It's fantastic to have you guys here. This is part number 5 of this Ford 2N rebuild and restoration. In this video, I'm going to be doing some more of the major components of this tractor on the back end, such as the hydraulic pump. I already know what's wrong with my hydraulic pump and what parts I need to replace. However, I'm going to be showing you guys how to diagnose the problem, and instead of just jumping into you need to get an entirely new pump, whether you need to get gaskets, a new part, or what the problem actually is before you start just yanking it apart and spending a bunch of money. Alright guys, once you have identified that your hydraulic pump isn't working properly and something needs to happen, whether it's gaskets or replacing a part, the first thing that you're going to want to do is go ahead and take off this inspection plate right here. It's held on by 6 bolts. This also holds on your foot plate and your back brake lock plate. Once you go ahead and take that off, you'll have some hydraulic fluid come out, so make sure you have a pan underneath. And then what we're gonna do is you're gonna actually start the tractor with it open, and then you're gonna see what is actually happening on the inside of the tractor. I'll show you that here in a second. All right, once you have your tractor on, go ahead and engage the PTO, which will engage the hydraulic pump, and then go ahead and get a flashlight and just see what's going on down in there. As you just saw, that was the interior workings of the hydraulic pump. Now, I don't have very much fluid in there. There's probably about a gallon left in there because I was diagnosing it last night. When you're first going about your pump, you don't need to do that. You just need to make sure oil is not coming out of the bottom of this circle anymore, and then you can go from there. Now in the bottom right hand corner of the inner workings, you can see that little valve right there, and that's what actually holds the pressure, because it goes up and then all the way back to the hydraulic arms. And that's probably the most common place for a gasket to go out, just because it's under so much pressure. If that's the case, then you'll just need to purchase a gasket kit and go about replacing that. If you have oil leaking down from the roof of your hydraulic pump, that will mean that you have gaskets or something wrong with the top end of your hydraulic pump, and I'll link a video to all these different places that might have problems in the description to walk you step by step on how to go about that. Now, as you can probably see, and I'm going to show you again, this hydraulic pump has a big crack in the right side of it, and then it's missing some bushings. There's a bunch of metal shavings in there, so I need to do a complete overhaul on this pump. I'll show you that here in a second. However, if one of those other things are your problem, then I'll link some videos down in the description, and you can stop watching this, go watch the video that you need to watch to get your job done. If you do have to end up dropping your whole hydraulic pump to fix it, you'll have to take out this PTO shaft, and it is held on with 4 bolts. Make sure you have a drop pan, because hydraulic fluid will come out. The next part of it is to go ahead and drop the entire pump. And how to do that, there are 9 bolts underneath where that drain plug was, 11/16. Go ahead and take all of those out, and that'll drop the entire pump with it. One thing I forgot to tell you guys is if you have a 9N or a 2N, there's this little thing that holds together the arms that go to the top lid. So make sure you disconnect this. But now, since we have the pump off, we can go ahead and figure out what parts actually need to be bought. But as you can see, we're missing pretty much half the pump, and I'm holding it in my hand, so that's not good. All right, it's been about 2 weeks since I took this apart. The parts finally came in. I decided to go with a whole rebuild kit. Now, if you're getting a rebuild kit for your hydraulic pump, it kind of just depends. If you're just having gasket problems where you can see where it's leaking out, you can go ahead and just purchase the gaskets. You can purchase any of these parts individually, but however, with all of this and an entire side cracked out on this pump, we just thought it would be better to go ahead and do a complete overhaul on it. And this pump includes everything besides the aluminum housing that the pump sits in. But yeah, it kind of just depends on what you need for your situation. I'm gonna move this stuff out of the way and start disassembling. Everything on this pump is held together with an 18 millimeter wrench. Go ahead and just start disassembling. Clean this up. I might want to mention that when you are cleaning these, make sure you get all of the old gasket off. So grab a chisel. You could use a sandblaster. You could use really fine sandpaper. You don't want to make too many scratches or anything. But you need to get that gasket off, or else it won't make a proper seal to the new stuff that we're going to be putting on. Alright, now since I have everything put back together, this is what it should look like when it's all put back together. And I'm going to test it real quick. So I'm going to grab the PTO shaft. I'm going to slide it in. Just like that. And manually turn it. It should move nice and freely. There should be no friction. If there's friction, you might not have something aligned properly or something along those lines. Now since we know that everything is put back together, everything's working like it should, the last step is to go ahead and put on your gasket that goes around the whole thing. Now when I got this, I received it torn, so I'm gonna put a little bit of this blue stuff on there, line it up, and then I'll bring you over and we'll screw it back to the tractor. Alright, once you have everything hooked back up, everything screwed back together nice and tight, the last step is to go ahead and put hydraulic fluid back into the system. We took roughly about 5 gallons of hydraulic fluid out, so we're putting roughly 5 gallons back in. Yeah, after that, we're ready to go. Alright guys, the last and final thing that you have to do on this hydraulic pump, well, you should actually probably do this before you put it back in the tractor. It'll make it easier. Is you need to prime the pump. So 9 times out of 10, the pump works and you don't have to prime it at all. But every now and then you do have to prime a pump. So like for mine, since it was pre-assembled and all those springs on the 2 sides were already put in there and I didn't put them in there, it needed to be primed. Now you might not necessarily have to do that. I'll show you what I'm talking about. Right there is one on both sides. You need to undo this screw and then take out these plugs and put hydraulic fluid into it. Once you do that, you're priming the pump and it should work then. And how I figured out by this, and how I figured this out is, well, I put the pump back together, I put everything back together, I fired up the tractor, pump wasn't working. So I ended up taking off the entire top and seeing what was wrong with the pump, and it came down to that you needed to prime the pump. Like I said, throughout research and everything is 9 times out of 10 these are self-priming pumps, except for every now and then you have to manually prime it. But now since that's done, we're ready to rock and roll. Alright guys, we got the tractor fired up. To engage your hydraulic pump, you have to put your foot on the clutch, turn on your PTO, and now you're able to use your hydraulics. Alright, as you can see, the hydraulic pump now is fully functional. It wasn't before in the beginning of this video. As you saw, half the pump was shattered and sheared up in millions of different pieces. We have a fully functional hydraulic pump. There's nothing wrong with the pistons or the piston up top or the arms. So yeah, we fully restored a hydraulic pump, and throughout this entire thing, I'd say the most important thing is if you are restoring a hydraulic pump or rebuilding one, make sure that you prime it, because I legit spent 3 days pulling off this top part of the hydraulic system. I tore it all back apart. I tore the hydraulic pump all back apart and everything, and it all came down to you need to prime the pump. So whether you don't think that you need to prime it or not, you're lucky and you got that 9 out of 10 that I was talking about before. It's an easy step. Go ahead and prime it. It'll save you a lot of trouble in the end. Anyway, that is it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope it was informational. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you like the videos that I've been coming out with and the things that I do on this channel, please consider subscribing to my channel. But the next steps on this tractor is I have a hood over there in the shop for the battery compartment and the gas compartment. I need to put that on. I need to hunt down a front grill. But for the most part, mechanically, this tractor is functioning the way it should and how it is meant to be functioned. So I need to find those 2 parts, and then I'm gonna power wash it. We're gonna make sure there's no oil leaks, no nothing, and then we're gonna paint it and replace all the rubbers on this tractor so it'll be up and ready to go. Yeah, that's the end of this video. Thanks for watching.